on this note, actually. You said in the beginning, this is not just a story that's set in a specific time and place, which clearly it is, but it's also a universal story about young men forming a kind of a group or gang from disenfranchised circumstances and going through this process. And as such, it's also part of a generic tradition. Did you have, I think my question is about influence. Did you screen any other films or discuss any other films from that generic tradition when you were working through this material? You say, oh, I'm looking at early Scorsese, I'm going to look at Trainspotting. Did the actors try to do that? Where would we go as part of that kind of genre?
You mentioned exactly the right seconds. Of course, we looked onto Mean Streets and Who's That Knocking at My Door and Trainspotting as well. So, but also to Once Upon a Time in America, for example. These are sometimes these gangster films, or there are gangs fighting against each other, and each of these films also coming of age. And because of that, it was interesting. And even because in the novel, Clemens is a big fan of genre movies. He has a big collection at home, big collection. He knows everything. And if you read the novel, you feel that always. There's a kind of tone in it. They say always, my brother. And there's a kind of pathetic language in the novel. And we wanted to keep that. And for me, that was always interesting. And so for that reason also the film starts in an empty cinema. It's dark, it's burnt, and nothing happens there anymore. But cinema is always a space for dreams, and it's open for traveling into foreign worlds and other countries. And so we wanted to keep that, and so and because of that, the early powerful works of Scorsese were very inspiring, of course.
I would have a question up here on the top floor. Yeah. Hi. I wondered, we now talked a lot about, you talked about the adaptation from the script to the shooting, and that you were trying to keep more or less to it, as Wolfgang spent a lot of time doing that. And I was wondering how much you then still changed the things around in the editing process, and how, Wolfgang, you also felt about that. How free were you to then, in the last moment in the editing room, to make major changes?
It's about the cutting process, yes. No, Andy has a certain style in all those ways of production, and so we have got for many years the same cutter, wonderful guy. They are very near to each other. He sleeps in the same house where the Schneidetisch, the cutting place is. So early or late, he is always near to the battlefield. and usually they create together a first version. Everything is there, but nothing is fixed once and forever. And then usually this is a moment we talk, I get a phone call and I come and have a first look onto it. But not only me, even some 3, 4, 5 persons, more persons, trustees. And so then we can talk about everything, because it's important to have a new look onto the material. have to say, I have to get used to the material, and then we do it again in this way 2 or 3 or 4 weeks later. So there's the next step in completing the material. And then the wonderful thing is, I like it very much to take things out.
Because how long was the very first rough cut?
In that case, it's, I think, not too far away from the final version. It was 15 minutes longer or something like that, 10 or 15 minutes. It's not too much, but it had a quite different structure. That was interesting. So we worked a lot on the structure of the movie. For example, the cinema scene in the beginning had no repetition in the beginning, on the first draft. So we had the whole scene in the beginning of the movie, and we found out later on that it's better to cut it into 2 pieces and repeat it later on. So these are we do a lot of screenings in the editing room, not with too many people, 5 to 10 people every time, but we redo every week. We recut the whole movie, and we make screenings in between, and we discuss to people, and so there are finally a lot of versions of the movie. The whole process takes 5 to 6 months, and then we have the final version. And of course, Wolfgang sees it, and he has to agree. If not, that's not the final version.